And hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Really excited about today. I hope you are as well. Richard Adams, Fury, Sabine, welcome everybody. Good to have you here. We're going to continue with the Photoshop magic. Thank you, Voodoo Val and T White doing their thing. And I'm going to continue this magic with some abstract psychedelic work, basically. Psychedelia, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about. We're going to have a lot of fun, essentially. You can literally search for this. In general, this is considered like sort of a kind of a cool trend, at least trending in 2021. So that is the goal with this live stream. So we take a look at, say for instance, here we go, switching over, boom. You can see 99 Designs talks about it. So it's this abstract psychedelia, just crazy fun images, right? Lots of colors, gradients, maybe some things that don't mean anything, right? But they're all going to follow some fundamentals of design. Because notice how both of these have like a focus area, right? And then they have all this crazy stuff around them. So a little focus area and all this crazy stuff. So that's essentially what we're going to do. You could just go ahead and search for abstract psychedelic art and you'll see a number of things. So cool. So we're going to make this stuff today, which is going to be really fun, right? Some cool splatters. We're just going to get all trippy, as if that's cool, right? We're going to use mostly Photoshop. I might jump into Illustrator, right? Because you can see some of these lend themselves more to Illustrator than others, right? So this is definitely Photoshop. We can see this is sort of like more of an, lends itself more to Illustrator, as you can see, but I'm totally into this. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So let's just jump in here. This is the image I'm going to start with, and I want to welcome you guys. Yeah, itching to do this, Biola. Hopefully that's, yeah. So this is my center image. Just did a search for a woman with glasses because I want to do some cool trippy stuff in the glasses, you know. And then her hair is going to be all crazy and a lot of fun. So yeah, digital tie-dye. Carol, I like the way you phrase that. So that's awesome. So you can see this image. I have a couple other things going on in here because of course, I'm not going to start totally from scratch. You don't need to watch me hunt for the images. But I'm going to go in here for this image. And if I scroll down, I'm just going to remove background. Boom. Right? That's essentially where we would start. Right? Hit B for brush. You know, make sure we get... Oops. Make sure we're on that layer and make sure we get that nail. Oh, flip it, right? And kind of do a little bit of cleanup. The nice thing about this psychedelic work is that we don't need to worry too much about a lot of these little details because a lot of this stuff's gonna just get covered up, right? So I can jump in here and clean it up where I need to. But again, that's not really the goal of today. But some of these little parts might bother you if I don't, right? And again, she has to look like she's in front of the background, and I'm just using my selection tool. My lasso. Grab some of that. Boom, boom, boom. Right, there we are. Cool. All right, we can throw some fun backgrounds back here, and we can start playing with this. So we have a number of gradients in here. So if you don't have it, this is the problem. Is because you have a different type of layer selected. So notice how this looks like the same layer, but this is actually a layer, let me click over, a smart object layer. So if it's not a pixel-based layer, then you're not gonna see it. So that's what it comes down to. So all I need to do is just go ahead and rasterize this layer, boom, rasterize it, again, it's this layer right here, and then you'll see, oh, there it is now. Remove background. Boom, removes the background. Right, so that's what I would do in this case. We'll jump in here. Same sort of little cleanup. Again, we're just getting our assets kind of squared away. I'll use the quick selection tool, fill it with black, right, and there we have that. But let's make this fun and psychedelic. All right. Bring that up to the top. She's right here. She'll probably be at the bottom because we want to give her some crazy hair, and we're going to do some fun things with her. So for the background, again, background is pretty neutral, but it is going to be bright and fun. That's what I'm going to work with. It's just like a bright, fun color, kind of like this one, right? That'll kind of be the starting point. There's a number of other ones we can go with. We can, again, let's actually change this to linear gradient. But we could see a number of these gradients we can kind of throw in there that might work for us as well. All right. And these work pretty well, right? But again, I'm going to keep it kind of clean. We'll go with something kind of like this, and we'll focus on her now. Okay. Because I just applied a gradient. Ooh, good. Keith, you're going to do this. So this is what I would do, Keith, right? So we know how to just, you know, add a colorful, you know, gradient to the background. You can see me do this all day long. Like, you get how that works. But what would be really cool is to take this and map these colors to the photo. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this woman and we are going to go down here and we're going to add a... I want to do a couple things here, actually. I want to add a gradient map. Okay, so you ready for this? Gradient map, right? And I will clip it. So we'll do a clipping mask so it just affects her. That already looks cool. Black and white and all this colorful stuff looks good. Alexander, what's up? Good to see ya. But what we want to do is we want to change this gradient map from just this black and white, and you have photographic toning, so this is typically what people will do is, can I zoom in on her? There we go. Let's see her nice and big, right? You'll use photographic toning, and we can go ahead and tint her different colors, but we want to go beyond that because there's so many more fun colors that we can work with, right? So rather than picking just these photographic toning ones, we'll go up and we'll pick, say, any one of these rainbow colors. So that alone already makes it look electric. This is called spectrum, right? So that's what I've selected. I've selected just the spectrum one. I could select this one right here, which is also a spectrum style, but has a darker color. For the darker shades, it actually makes it blue, right? You got it. Something like that, okay? So that's a fun psychedelic look we can kind of start with. There's some more we can do here. Displacement map? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Sure, why not? What I'm gonna do next, though, is I'm gonna use levels. And I did this the other day, too, and I think it turned out pretty cool. So let me just jump out there really fast. Shameless self-promo. But right in here, you can see this sort of like chromatic look, right? How would you get that chromatic look? So maybe you don't want to go as far as doing a gradient map, but you want to have this like chrome look. And I'll show you how to do that now as well. So right over here, we'll go down here to our adjustment layers, and we're going to have curves. Throw some curves in there. Here's the panel, right? And then from here, we can go ahead and just do some fun mountains. Ba, ba. And actually, let's see. Yep, that's clipped. Ba, 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 ba. As many of these as you want, but you could see that gives her that chromatic look. Can you use neural filters and get the same results? You can. That's a great place to take a look as well. That's a good call. Yeah, try the neural filters. There is stylize or stylistic portrait, something like that. I think it's called stylize. Yeah, so that would work as well. We could do that if you want to. I like this. I like how it just like makes her look awesome. I just love it. I think it looks so good, right? We can make those darks increased or adjust the contrast and the highlights, right? What happens here is you start to get a lot of graininess, right? Yes, Magno Lopez style. Totally love him. He's my favorite. totally into his color palette. I'm into, you know, Velvet Spectrum as well. Like, totally into those guys that use a lot of bright colors. Really fun. Here's the thing, though. We get this graininess. Okay, so how can we fix this graininess? Because it doesn't look that smooth. It gets a little... It starts to vibrate too much, right? So that's where I would actually just jump in. And yeah, let's just be destructive. Why not? Let's actually not be destructive. I'm going to click there. And what I'm actually going to use is I'm going to use the smudge tool. So I'm going to use this smudge tool to smudge these areas and to smooth it out, right? With the smudge tool. And you could use the blur tool, but it doesn't look as good. I'd rather smudge this around and paint it, right? Because we want this to look vibrant, but also smooth. So let's go along that edge, just like so. I'm so thankful I got a Wacom, guys, and I'm so excited about this, right? But jumping in here, we can go ahead and start to smooth this out, right? Just jumping in, smoothing these areas that we need to smooth. We could blur the whole thing. What is it doing? Doing something weird. There we go. Let's zoom out. Oh, that was my problem. I just needed to zoom out. Yeah, there we go. Apparently when you do the... What is it? The accessibility zoom... kind of has some issues. Right, so this gives me control over even like the lips. I'd come in here and just squiggle. Keep those bright colors, get rid of that crazy detail. We want the detail around the lips, which is again why I wouldn't blur this whole thing. I would just go in and make these parts smoother, as you can tell, right? You guys get the idea? Just smudging. All right. Robert, I don't know when the next update for neural filters will come. Sorry, I don't. Our latest release was kind of like we had some bug fixes. So that's Photoshop 25, I think, 0.1. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you're looking for anything specific. Right, there we go. Look at that. That looks much better. I should have kept a before image just so we can compare the two. Right, but again, just jump in here. Let's do this really fast. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I see some names that were with me this morning. Boy, creating that logo was really tough, right? This you think would be more complex, but this is actually easier than creating a logo, if you ask me. Right? Look at this. Look at all this fun color. Look at this. As I'm working... Look at these colors. Like, yeah, let's get rid of that. Let's pull this down. These fun colors that start coming through for her cool shirt. Isn't this fun, guys? Huh? Right? Doing just a psychedelic design because we can. It's a top trend for 2021. Again, these vibrant colors. I think it's just a need to escape. Probably as well, which is why it's kind of hot. But again, just making this look sort of chromatic and electric. You get the idea, right? Does that work? Very chromy. I'm into the chrominess. Yeah, I just don't want to map a bunch of colors on here. I want to I can control these colors as well. So let me just kind of hurry through this, smoothing it out, and then we'll go on to the next phase, right? Smoothing out all these like lumpy parts. Hopefully you can see where I'm working. I'm working on the hands right now, right? We'll jump in, we'll do that fun stuff, okay? Okay, so that's not bad, right? I did all the smudging I needed to, and we can combine these two. We can combine the curves, right? So let's turn this off, by the way. So this is what, now she looks nice and smooth. Yes, I'm using a pen tablet. That is new, and it's so, Such fun. It's such fun, folks. I just can't get enough. I swear I can't stop. I love it. Right? Pushing those colors around. Let's turn on the gradient map on top of it. Ready? Yowza. Man, that's electric. Right? Let's reverse these colors. It's a little intense. Right? Well, we can always adjust these colors as well. In fact, if you adjust the curves underneath, you could see it change. Look at it as it starts to change. If I wanted to bring in more blues, I bet you if I crank up this side, we're going to get more highlights of green, right? It's kind of up to me how much I want to play with this, or if I want to combine, say, hey, you know what, just take the light colors, right, from the gradient map, right, and just use those light colors, right? You guys get the idea. I don't know. What do you guys think? I feel like there's a lot of red in here. It's looking kind of ugly. Guys, just tell me. Hey, Mike, just be like, oh, that's ugly. So this is actually better. I would take this. Let me just hurry up through this, guys, huh? I really like this. I might not even use this gradient map right here. I'm definitely going to use it, but I might just leave it like this. All right. It is my little Christmas gift to myself. All right, so we have this layer. Let's do this really fast. We'll take this, rasterize it. Let's shrink it down. Shoop. I'm going to do her eyeglasses now, her sunglasses. All right. So I'm going to drop in. I want to do some cool swirls with color right here. Okay. So I'm going to drop that right there. I'm going to go to filter into Liquify, right? In Liquify, we have this third option, which is basically a spiral. Twirl clockwise. If you hold down the Option key or Alt key, it'll turn counterclockwise. And keep in mind, I have the pressure and the rate cranked all the way up. So now all I need to do is click and... Whoa, that's far out. Look, let's tighten this up in the center. Some more, you get the idea. Just some fun swirls. That's what we'll go with. Cool. It's almost a perfect circle. Let me see if I move this. We're doing okay. Let's mask it. Thanks for joining me on this fine Friday. Got some Photoshop magic, some masterclass magic. Let's rasterize this layer. The reason I rasterize this layer is because I know I don't need to change it anymore, but sometimes if you shrink down or change the size of anything that's made with Liquify, it changes the distortion that you're doing, right? So there we go. So again, Alok, just so you know, the reason I rasterize that gradient is if you start to move a smart object that has Liquify applied to it, the Liquify mode does not move with it. So you have to rasterize it unless you want to put it in another smart object. So that's all that also works. All right, so there we have that. Let's just play with this. Yeah, it's okay. All right, trippiness. Let's throw in some fun hair now, huh? Should have used a noise gradient. Yeah, could have used a noise gradient. I've been into using noise lately to do stuff. All right, let's do hair. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I could do this a couple different ways, by the way. I'm going to use actually a brush. So we could go in, and yeah, you could use hard pressure round brush, you know, and if you know, whether you're doing this on the iPad and Photoshop on the iPad or whatever, right, we can start to do these wispy hairs if you want, right? Yeah. Let's get rid of that. Let's right click because there's plenty of hair brushes out there. I got these from Brush Easy. but these are sort of like all the hair on somebody's head that you can go ahead and work with. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this brush, shrink it down, you know, click, and there we have that hair there. I'll rotate it that way. You guys get the idea. Command J. Oh, I don't want to jump the layer. I want to create a new layer. Right click. You get the idea. Cool. Rotating brushes, just use your arrow keys. If you use shift, arrow left or right, you're able to sort of rotate by increments of 10, right? And right in here, we can go ahead and don't worry about this. This is going to take some more time. Don't freak out. I know it's not looking like that great, but again, we still have a ways to go with this. All right. So go easy on me, right? I know what I'm doing. It's gonna look worse before it looks better, okay? So hopefully everybody's okay with that. Ooh, this is fun hair too. Look at that. Again, these are just brushes. They're just like big stamps I'm using on this. Swing it over here. Go like that. You get the idea. Shrink this down, kind of do something like that. All right, people. Let's do one or two more of these really fast. You know, and then we'll start to colorize it. Because this one needs some more crazy strands up here. All right, let me look at, I'm gonna look at chat in a second. Sorry, it's taken me a while. By the way, most of this is all on its own layer. So now I have all this hair, that is all on its own layer. But let's just jump in here. I'm gonna hit B for brush, right click. Let's convert this back to the soft round and just get rid of the hair up here, shall we? Zoop. Let's just get rid of that. Because I'm going to blend it all in, and it's going to be amazing. At least that's the hope. Okay. Oh, thanks a lot. It does take a little bit of time. Like, I catch a vision for it, but we'll see if what's in my head gets executed correctly. And also, if you're your first time joining me here today, feel free to say hello. I'd love to hear if it is. Let's go back to my smudge brush. Remember, I could smudge this stuff around. Smudge it. It's going to be awesome, right? So there's roughly the hair that we could keep black, or we can make it a different color if we want to. Let's move this over. Let's kind of fill out parts of this, by the way. You have your brushes in Fresco. You need them in Photoshop on the iPad. That brings up a very good point. That's a question for Kyle too, by the way, because I'm kind of curious what people, you know, like you're using different tools and different brushes in different places. So I don't know. Does there need to be some uniformity or what? Rachel's first time. Cheers to Rachel. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's going to be great. What did I do? I just created all these layers with all these brushes. Command G. Group them together. We'll call this hair, right? All right, so we're going to get a little crazy. We'll save this. So this is a Cintiq 24-inch is what it is. What's up, Rita? Thanks for joining me. Tony, Howard, I see you there. Vivek and Divashmi on YouTube. So we could keep this as black, and keep in mind, everything's on its own layer, so I have full ability to kind of jump in and move this stuff around and adjust accordingly if I think it's not working. Right? It's a little crazy. That's okay. Right? But let's just try this really fast. Let's go based on what we know. We can take this background layer. I'm going to duplicate it. And we now have this gradient, right? So we have this gradient right here, okay? Crazy gradient. We're going to turn it into a smart object. We're going to go into Liquify again for this fun gradient. Remember, we're doing this Abstract Psychedelia. Woo! You must be very exact with this part. Get it just right. You have to do it perfect. Just kidding. This is just chaos, and that's okay. We're going for chaos, actually. Right? Pushing all this stuff around. Just trying to make sure I do curves, though, because I'm thinking of her hair. I want to follow her hair. Pressure, size, density. I can increase the density. But, you know, I'm just pushing a lot of this around as well. So that's what I'm doing, folks. I need more red in here, so let's just pull a ton of red in here. Oh. It might get a little ugly, but I really need more red in there. Oops. Crazy. Okay, that's good. Let's click OK. We have our craziness. Right, cool. Let's take this. Let's convert that to a smart object, because like I said, you either have to rasterize or turn it into a smart object to protect that crazy Liquify filter I did. Okay, so now I can shrink this down, but the thing is I want this in the hair now, right? Let's put this craziness in the hair, right? By going right over here and making this a clipping mask. So right click, create clipping mask. Another thing you can do, hold down the Option key. Hold down the Option key, roll right over that, or Alt key if you're on a PC. Bam, we could clip that. So let's see what that looks like when I zoom out. Clipped. There it is. Now we have all this craziness like in her hair. Right? And I can layer a couple of these one on top of the next. There's 1,000 different things I can do. And this is honestly where you're just going to play. In fact, what am I going to do? I'm going to convert this back to layers. Oh, darn. Let's not do that. Let's get rid of the... Oh, there's our original image. Maybe I will hold on to that. But just for safekeeping, we'll keep that original image where we started. Okay. Pure chaos. Here's my pure chaos. Let's shrink this down. Watch what happens when I shrink this down. And watch what happens. See, this is what we get. We get this craziness when I just kind of shrink it down. It reapplies the Liquify filter, which is kind of what I'm thinking about using. Again, just trying it a couple different ways. We can clip it like so. I don't know. That's kind of where it's at now, guys. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not 100% sure I like this all right now, but what are you gonna do? Let's... oh yeah, let's expand this out. Yeah. Help me out, folks. Ooh, that's good. There, that's what I want. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I want so far. Add blur to the hair. That's a great idea. Yeah, I think blur would be fun to kind of, because there's so much motion going on. I would probably, honestly, turn this into, I would probably actually rasterize it, and then I would do some smudge to it. Yeah, there, Alok, I hear what you're saying. All right, so there's more we need to do with this. Come on, Paul, get Get with the program. We got things to do. Shrink it up. Make it happen. Right? Now there's a couple different layers in there, right? So I've added just like a couple layers of craziness like for her hair. Here's another thing I would do too. Let's just take this. Command J. Jump that. Change the color of her shirts, right? So we'll go in here very quickly. Bam. Make it fast. Is anybody's eyes hurting? Is this almost too much? I hope it's not causing pain for anyone. That's not my goal. There we go. Selected her shirt. Let's take this. Let's invert it. Fill it with black. Hit deselect. Take this. Reverse. Change this to normal. Oh no, I did not save this file. Crossing my fingers. I'm getting the spinny wheel. That's the one place I don't want to see color, is the little spinning color wheel. Alright, so now I have just different colors down here that I could go ahead and play with. I don't know if it's looking any better. No, it's not. Anyways, I'm just trying to create some contrast between... Okay, here's another thing you can do. You ready for this? I love this pro tip. Command S, yeah, totally. So I want to apply the same layer mask to this new curves layer. Hold down the Option key or the Alt key if you're on PC. And drag it up. It will ask you, since there's already one, it'll ask you to replace it. Just say yes, right, and we've replaced it. Because what I'm doing is I'm working with these curves down here. So anyways. Alright, you guys get the idea. I'm going to move on. I have 30 minutes. This is good news for me. Right? There's so much more that needs to happen. This hair needs to be so much more flowy. There we go. You ready for this? Now, just the shirt is going to change. You ready? See, I'm just playing with the colors in the shirt. In fact, let's turn that off. That's what the original looks like. And the original is not that bad. In fact, let's just reset this. There we go. Got it. Sorry that took so long. That took a little bit of time, but I wanted that shirt to be a different color. Right? It just needed to kind of stand out a little bit. The nice thing is I can play with this. I can make it as electric as I want, but at least those dark tones, it needs to be more dark than light, and I can always bring up the highlights if I need to. Okay, you guys get the idea. Let's move on to something else. Let's save this file. What else do I have to show you? 1,000 things, right? Let's get into adding other elements, right? So we could add a number of things at this point. If I want to add, plants. Or the planets. I have plants in here. Let's do that. Let's turn this on. Oh, I have all these fun plants that I can work with. Sure, I get it. Her hair is a little crazy. Not even 100% sure I'm gonna use that, but let's take a look at this because I want to do something similar with the plants and stuff. And let's make everything a little darker. Just notice how it actually really changes the look of this whole thing. But, let's do this. More images. Let's take this, group her together, make her, this is the woman going on some crazy trip, right? She's like, oh, you just blew my mind. Let me know if you guys have questions. Let's take some of this. Let's take like this. We have this branch right here. I'll do the same thing again. It's certainly kind of boring right now. I don't want to just cover a gradient over the top of it, right? I don't want to do that. That makes it look flat. Let's keep it dimensional, right? And let's actually do what I was doing before, which is adding a gradient map. And that gradient map is set to, say, this rainbow, as you can see, like so. Bam. Some things that I actually do, and I don't tell you guys what I'm doing, just because I'm like trying to keep my professional edge over you guys. Like I'm holding back secrets. I'm just kidding. This is what I love, by the way. Hopefully, does everybody understand this? Like, it's mapping the rainbow to all of the lights and darks on this leaf. It maps the rainbow to it. There's a lot of midtones, because we can see that the gradient map, the midtones are red. There's a lot of midtones in this leaf. But I want to increase, if I increase the contrast of this original branch, then it's going to give me more colors. Increase the contrast, you're going to get more colors. So this is what I do. I'll do a Command L. Command L brings up levels. It doesn't do it as an adjustment layer. It adds it as a smart filter because it's a smart object. But that's what Command L will do, which I love. So now if I increase the contrast, we're going to get more colors. So drag that over. We could get, that's what I want. Click OK. Done. All right. Yada, yada, yada. This is what I want to add. Like, let's throw some of that in there. Let's jump that layer. Let's add this to the grapevine. Huh? Right there. This one right here, these leaves. Same situation. Again, I would treat each one differently and make my life really hard on myself. But I'm controlling the individual brightness and the colors for this little guy. Boop. Put it wherever. I'm not sure if the hair is really working. Okay? Do you guys agree? The hair is. I'm not sold on the hair just yet. Okay, so I'm just not sold on it. Anyways, let's move on. There's this one. Slap that on there. These flowers, look at that. Trippy. Right, we'll do this one next. Right over here. There it is. There's the magnolias. Doesn't that look awesome? Look at that. Like, before, after. Butterfly. Here's the fun butterfly. Yeah, let's do that as well. Okay, hurry up. I'm going to move on. You guys get it. Look at this awesome butterfly. Look at how gorgeous that is. Let's have him kind of come over here. Okay, so question for you, Robert Fury and everyone. Music I'm playing right now is from Chill Hop, and specifically it is PR, Appetizers. Wait, what's going on by PR-Appetizers is what it says. Anyways, so I've been duplicating all of these gradient maps, but I have everything in this plants folder. So Apparently the music's pretty wild. Can I listen? We need some fun, silly music. Yeah, that's pretty good music. I did just change it, by the way. Sorry. I think it was getting a little distracting. I can get rid of all of those gradient maps, put it on top, and say, hey, you know what? For these gradient maps, just apply the gradient maps to all of those layers, right? And you could see what it does, obviously. It applies it to everything, right? And then I can go in and adjust accordingly, right? I don't always want that. Sometimes I want a little bit more control than just applying things globally. But, you know, it just kind of depends. Like this butterfly right up here, again, I want to change the color, Command L. Increase the contrast. We can increase the darks, the lights. There we go. That's what I want. See, I'm grabbing more yellow. That's kind of what I want. Right, you get the idea. Anyway, this is fun. Tell me about the hair. I think it would be super cool if it's just flowers, leaves, and butterflies. So there will be a time where I need to go in and start editing, right? Because this kind of is it's a little much, right? In fact, I'm going to take her, I'm going to shrink her down. Oops. Like some of this stuff gets a little muddy. It really does. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Right? It almost needs more yellow. So let's jump in there, grab some more yellow. Right? And from here, since it's all using that one gradient map, I can add more yellow to it. There we go. That looks better. It's less muddy. Okay, so let's add some more elements, because what I was going to do is use something like dimension. So in dimension, yeah, I've already rendered out some assets. But all I've basically done, and I can turn off a lot of these, you can kind of go in with your starter assets. Let's turn off some of these, just to not confuse, so I'm not confusing everybody. And you have objects that you can work with. So right in here, we can say, hey, you know what? Let's grab a cool splat or a splash, right? Let's grab a splash and a splat and another splashy thingy, right? Just a bunch of splatty things, right? Like that. Cool. I get it. There's already some lighting associated with it. That's okay. I'll show you how to do that. But from here, I could say, hey, you know what? We could make these. We can give them some fun lighting, right? We can take a bicycle. So I happen to have a bicycle in here somewhere. Let's go back. Miscellaneous. 3D. Let's grab a trippy bicycle. Throwing in a bicycle in here. And we can colorize this bike as well, right? So this could be another element that we work with, right? So we have all this stuff. Again, I'm in Adobe Dimension. I can start applying these different materials to them. So you could try some of these like brushed or rainbow sort of metallic, right? We could try some of those. I'll drop that on. You could see what it looks like, right? I'll drop on this green one, right? You get the idea. I could drop it on the whole bike. So that's what I would try to do. The bicycle, the vintage bicycle. Let's drop it right in the layers panel and apply it that way. Okay. A lot of the color comes from the environment, right? So we can see, let me see if I can delete all of these lights. But basically right over here, you can get a lot of color from these like studio color staged lights. Either one of these, as I select them, you can see how it's going to change the scene. Here's another thing you can do. It's like, hey, take that same gradient, by the way, the gradient that we just made or was working with in Photoshop, right? This one right here. Take this gradient and drop it in your library. And then I can use that. Drop it in there. It's in my people folder, but we can go ahead and use this rainbow gradient in Dimension. So back in here, let's zoom in when I accidentally zoomed out and applying that to the splash and other elements, right? So let's just drop them on. Boom. Right? So all we're doing is we're creating fun elements. I'm going to make sure when I drop it on, it doesn't drop it on as a decal, but it fills the entire object. There's the cool flowy stuff that I want, right? Boom, drop it on this one. Yeah, you should install Dimension because it's fun, right? Look at this cool splash that we can work with, right? It's pretty awesome. And of course with our bicycle as well. Okay, so we can render out all these fun assets. I already did that, right? Just so we don't have to worry about doing that. Let's open up this, and this just gives us more elements to work with for fun, psychedelic, trippy scene. Here's even a skull. Like, you know me, you know there's gonna be some skulls and some flowers in this, right? So let's jump back over. Here's our trippy lady, and then we can go ahead and take all these rendered assets and drop them in. There we go. Oh yeah. Right, and play with them. What I typically do, Fury and Carol and everyone, is I actually put everything in one scene. That way I know the lighting is correct, and I only have to render it once. So this size of this is 6,000 by 6,000, so it's huge. And then I just render it out once, and then I usually cut out the objects and use them the way I want to. So that's typically what I do. Oh, so much going on here, guys. Is it too much? I feel like we even need to adjust the canvas size to 4,500. Let's go 6,000. Let's go 5,000. I need more room. All right, let me know how you guys are doing. Down to my last couple minutes. I don't know if chat died or if people are just how you're feeling. How you doing? There we go. Cool. There we go. So here's all my fun splats and everything that we can cut out and use. Last thing, you ready for this? You ready for this, Carol and everyone? I think this is looking pretty cool. Let me actually do my one. I have planets in here that I can maybe use. I have our lovely friend that we cut out earlier. Remember this guy? His legs up here, right? Let's go ahead and do our thing. All right. There we go. Let's make this square for Instagram. All right. Yes, you should rewatch this whole thing if you can. Remember, we have all these fun colors. we have, this fun hand that I have that I've kind of cut out from another project. Let's play with it. So much to do. Same process, right? Let's make this kind of a trippy hand. Like she has multiple hands. Bam, bam, bam. There she is. Too much to show, not enough time. Story of my life here, folks. All right, there we go. There we have this hand down here that I'll play with some more when I have more time, but let's drop that in there and do something like that. It's the curves that I'd need to adjust, right, to get more of that brightness, like that. Okay, cool, kind of like that. You guys into it? Remember, if this is a real person, her elbow's down here, so that is actually wrong. We need to adjust accordingly. Taking the hand, checking the time. 5 minutes. Making this larger. Adjusting. Kind of like that. Got it? Let's do the other side. It's that easy. Bring that up here. Maybe we'll give this more of a bend. I don't know. Just some thoughts. Just thoughts, people. Just some fun thoughts to think about. All right, anyways, she's looking kind of scary. All right, let's move on. Just a couple minutes left. The background is going to play such a huge role in this. Like how are we going to work out this background, right? It's going to be kind of a big deal. Right? Let's go ahead and let's just go with that for now. Last thing I'm going to show you is in Illustrator. Let's delete this stuff. In Illustrator, you can make brushes as well. Again, we were using hair brushes, but I'm going to jump in here. Here's just a bunch of brushes that I have kind of squared away. Let's, draw, right? And this brush is actually controlled by the color of the stroke. So let's crank this up. Here's this fun brush that I have made, right? Let's take this one. Let's select all of these, actually. Let's make them tapered, like so. And again, this might be an element I can consider adding as well. Just doing this fun, swirly type stuff for this design. Can't say whether I'm going to use it or not, because honestly, I'm unsure, right? But again, just a different element that I could potentially use for this trippy illustration. How about the hands come from behind her back? Yeah, maybe. I do like how everything is kind of melting into the yellow down here. I'm liking that part. But again, still needs a lot of work. His parts are standing out too much, like these flowers. Little tweaks I'll need to make. Right, let's crank that up. And there it is. Let me kind of switch over to one that I was working on earlier, because guess what? I've done this before. Right, I was kind of working on this, just kind of planning out everything. But this is, again, here's two different versions, I guess, for you to kind of feast your eyes on. I will continue to work on both a little longer, and we'll let you know. Keep an eye on Instagram for where the final ends up, okay? But hopefully this was fun for you. Thanks for hanging out with me. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? So stay tuned. You have everything you need to know to do this crazy stuff. I'm glad you think the stream was excellent. Richard, you're too kind. Stop it already. You're so nice. But thank you, everybody. Stick around. Looks like we have the one and only Jason Levine, actually. How to optimize your editing experience. Ooh, you mean I could be better and faster at editing videos? Because I would absolutely love that. So yeah. By the way, if you wanted, this is kind of futuristic. I don't know. More later. See what I end up with on Instagram. And thanks so much for watching, everyone. And see where all this ends up. And we'll talk about more later. So that's it, everybody. Switching back over to my big screen, and I'll turn it over to Jason now. Again, doing a lot of work on this nice Wacom, which has been really fun. Happy Friday, Kara, and everyone, and Robert, and Wade, and Cindy, and people of Froja, and Rose. I see you over there. Have fun. Jason's up next. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. I'm going to stay tuned as well. Thanks so much for watching.